Hey guys, it is Jess with Watch Kitty Shrink, and I'm here with a little story time for you all. If you can hear my cat meowing in the background, please know that he is very well treated. There's nothing wrong with him other than he's in a mood today. He's been running up and down the stairs meowing, and there's really nothing I can do about that. So he's had breakfast, all that. Please do not come at me thinking I mistreat my cat. I would never. Anyway, I've tried to make this video like 10 times, and literally throughout the whole thing, he's just meowing, so we're just going to have to deal with it. So I've always said that I think it's really important to be super transparent in these videos and let people know kind of what to really expect. That means telling embarrassing stories as well. And the story that I have to tell you all is actually not a story that embarrassed me from when I was heavier. This is a story from last weekend. So, before I begin telling all of this story, I also want to tell you all that I have generalized anxiety disorder. I've talked about that many times here on this channel. The reason I'm mentioning that is because a side effect of that is that I do have low self-esteem and low self-worth. It kind of is like a come and go feeling. But I want to make sure I say that because sometimes I'm afraid that people will think that when I talk about me having low self-esteem when I was heavier means that everyone who is heavier should have low self-esteem. And that's not the case. It's just that being heavier combined with having a very low self-confidence anyway is what made me always feel so down about myself. So, anyway. Alright. So, do you know how before I talked about going into the stores and I feel like I am wearing a costume? Like I am behaving and acting like a thin person even though I'm not. I made the comment that I feel like I'm so sneaky because I go into a store and I buy an extra small shirt and they don't know I'm really fat. This still doesn't feel normal to me. This thin person, it still feels like I'm playing a role and that I'm doing it really well and I have everybody fooled, but that I'm really still that 285-pound version of me. That feeling comes and goes too. See, he's fine. That feeling comes and goes too, but when it comes, there's really nothing I can do about it. And it's pretty often that I do feel like that. Like this is all just a sham and any minute now I'm going to wake up and I'm not really going to be this size. So, I was at the Toledo Zoo with my family and they had this thing. You could pay $15 and you walk across a big series of swinging bridges. You're connected by a harness. You walk across a huge series of swinging bridges. I meant to look it up before I did it, but I forgot. But I would say it was at least a mile's worth. And each one, you know, collectively gets bigger and bigger and higher. Now, I have never been afraid of heights. I'm still not afraid of heights. But I would have never done anything like that before. I physically couldn't before. There's a 250-pound weight limit. They even make you stand on a scale and a dude looks at your weight and writes it down before you can even get on it. So I really could not have done it before. But even say if I was around 230 pounds when I had lost some weight, I still wouldn't have done it because I still thought I was too heavy, that I would break something, this, that, and the other. So anyway, to do this big cool thing because I've lost all this weight, I decided to do it. And so I get in my little harness, I get my helmet, I walk across all of those swinging bridges, which again was a big moment for me because I wouldn't have been able to even do the swinging bridges before. We're really high in the air. I'm with my family, my uncle and my cousin do it with me. And you know, we're all like laughing, oh, this was such a stupid idea, it's so high, blah, 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 blah. Again, not afraid of heights. So, we get up to the top, and the whole way I'm walking, I'm thinking, oh my God, I couldn't have done this before. I can't believe you can do this. What a great life. This is so cool. And then, we get up to the thing, and so like you zip line from the, like there's a pedestal, but then like when it's your turn to zip line, you go up like 3 little steps so that you kind of get a motion. And he was explaining the rules to us, and he said that some certain smaller people who didn't weigh a lot might have to do this cannonball moment like at the end so that you would fly a little bit better, because if you're not very heavy, you won't fly all the way to the end. And there was a second where he was looking at me, and even my cousin caught it, and I was kind of like, oh my gosh, he thinks I'm so small that I'm going to have to cannonball like the kids just to get across the thing. And then something happened in my brain, and I am mortified by this. Could not have happened at a worse time. I was so embarrassed that day. I haven't been that embarrassed in a long time. But my uncle went. Whew, it looked so cool, and I was so excited. And I go up my 3 little steps, and I'm kind of dangling there, and the guy's got his hand like on the thing, so I can't go flying until they're ready, because of course they make sure the person before you is off the zip line before you can go. But I'm up there dangling, and I look, and there's a sag in the line. It's supposed to be there. So I'm not saying anything was unsafe, but I just see the line sagging, and as I'm sitting there waiting my turn, I thought, Jessica, you have them fooled into thinking that you can do this, that you're not really as heavy as you are. You've done a good job at pretending, but when this thing goes, you're going to die because you are too heavy. You're going to break the line. And the whole time, like, it feels like it was like 20 minutes, and it wasn't. It's probably like a minute or two, but in my mind, I had this whole conversation with myself. Jess, you know, you've got on the scale. You know that you can do this. They wouldn't have let you on if you couldn't do this. Jess, you know that you weigh less than 150 pounds, much less 250 pounds. But I kept looking at the line, and I kept seeing the weight limit is 250. I used to weigh 285, and I could not convince myself that I would not break the line. And that was like the worst moment for me, because I was so ready to do it. I was so excited, and I couldn't do it. Like, I could not get the heavier version of me out of my mind. I felt like I weighed 285 pounds, like I was the biggest girl in the line. I felt like everybody was looking at me knowing, oh my God, this poor girl's going to break this line, and nobody wanted to hurt her feelings and tell her that she couldn't do it. And now she's just going to ride the zip line and die. Now, I know all that seems ridiculous now, but at the time, it was such an intense fear that I freaked out. I bolted. I got off of the line. I had to go stand in the back of the corner until somebody could walk me back, because like somebody from the actual zip line had to walk me back, because you have to keep reconnecting your harness, which I could have done, but for safety purposes, it has to be someone from the actual attraction that walks you back. So I had to wait like 45 minutes to even walk back, and then it took, because of you had to keep reconnecting, it probably took about 15 minutes to walk back too. It was mortifying. And the thing that really, really hurts me is that in some ways I'm still letting my fat hold me back. And it's crazy, because I guess if someone seen me, they would not realize that it's fat that's what's holding me back, because I look thin on the outside. But there are times that I still feel heavy on the inside, and that's what really makes me mad. It's like, you've come so far, 145 pounds you've lost, and you're still letting this hold you back. Because that's all it was. It was just that I was convinced that I had everybody fooled, and that I was just too heavy to go across this line. Even though I've seen people who I know for a fact weigh more than me go across it, I still couldn't do it. And that's just so ridiculous. But I think that is part of the weight loss surgery brain, because you've lost all this weight, but you did it so fast that your mind still hasn't caught up with you. So yeah, I have days when I look in the mirror and I'm like, okay, I've lost this weight, but I wonder when it becomes real that this is me. And I don't want you to think that I never think it's me. Sometimes I realize that this version is me, but it still doesn't feel normal. It still feels like I'm playing a part. And that day, I was mortified, because I could not get fat girl out of my head, and I could not just zip line. And again, I'm not even afraid of heights. It was fear of breaking the rope. And then I was like, you know what? Then they're going to put it on my Instagram that I died because I was too fat to go across the zip line. Is that not stupid? Like, who thinks these stupid things? But it happened to me, and I'm sharing it because I am sure I'm not the only person who has lost a lot of weight, who is what most people would consider thin, and still lets the fat girl brain hold him back. Hopefully somebody who is further out in surgery than me can tell me that eventually it does become normal, and eventually it does feel like this is me, but right now it doesn't. I was so mortified when I finally got off of that attraction that I didn't even want to look at my family. What I wanted to do was find a bathroom so I could go in there and have a cry, because the whole time I'm standing up there, these people are very nice, trying to convince me to do it, and I'm embarrassed. So I'm about to cry, and I'm trying to choke it back because I know that crying will only embarrass me more. So the whole time going back across those bridges, all I could think of is if I can get down, I can go to the bathroom and I can cry, and then I'll feel better. And of course, when you need a bathroom, there is no bathroom. So I get down and I'm like really embarrassed to face my family because everybody was so hyped up. And here's where blessed comes into play. I have the best family ever. Every single one of them hugged me. They were like, Jess, it's okay. You know, not everybody can do everything. And they really made me feel better about it. Because, of course, when I was up there worried, I was also like, my family hates me because I'm holding them up and all this. So, it's good to see the support of your family, but I'm still really mad at myself. I wish I'd have done it. I know I would have loved it. But in that moment, absolutely nothing was going to convince me that I wasn't going to break that wire. So, yeah, that's my story time, and that's really all I got to say. I'll see you all later. Bye.